Hi, this is Zibby Owens, and you're listening to the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I'm also the host of Moms Don't Have Time to Lose Weight, and I'm the editor of the anthology, which you should run out and buy, called Moms Don't Have Time to, a quarantine anthology. All proceeds of that book go to COVID-19 vaccine research. And I'm the editor-in-chief of Moms Don't Have Time to Write, a new publication on Medium, and we're accepting submissions, so please send your personal essays there. And if all that isn't enough, you can follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens, and my website is zibbyowens.com. Okay, now back to this amazing podcast. Amy Solomon is the editor of Notes from the Bathroom Line, Humor, Art, and Low-Grade Panic from 150 of the funniest women in comedy. Amy Solomon is a film and TV producer, most recently on HBO's Barry and Silicon Valley. She runs Alec Berg's production company, where she develops movies and TV that you'll hopefully see someday. She's originally from Chicago, but now lives in Los Angeles with her dogs, Nan and Goose, who are perfect. She's a graduate of Princeton University and loves baseball and her friends' kids. Welcome, ladies, to Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I am so excited to be joined here today by Amy Solomon, the editor of Notes from the Bathroom Line, as well as two of the contributors, Lennon Parham and also Lake Bell. So welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
So if you wouldn't mind, maybe you could go around, and Amy, why don't you start, since this was your Gilda Radner inspired, enterprise, and talk about how it started and how you roped in these ladies here.
Yeah. So basically there's this book from 1976 called Titters. That's this amazing bonkers book of 200 pages of all sorts of humor writing by all of my icons in comedy. So Gilda and Lorraine Newman and Phyllis Diller and Candice Bergen. And I discovered it on eBay when I was little and was obsessed with Gilda Radner. I still am, by big time. And I got obsessed. And it basically was always bizarre to me that there wasn't another big collection of humor writing by women, especially because the community's only exploded even more. And produce TV and movies, and all I do all day is meet brilliant women. So it was like, let's get them all to write something. So Lennon and Lake are two of my all-time faves. And so I went through, I asked friends, who are your favorite people? I went through people's agents, I just did a huge evil web of trying to rope women in. And I was so lucky these gals agreed, and it's an honor they're in it.
It's amazing. Very exciting.
Thanks, Amy. This is Lake talking now that you can hear my voice. Lennon, do your voice so they know you're you.
Do I sound just like you, Lake?
I think we sound exactly the same.
No, we sound exactly alike. So I'm Lennon, and we both have deep, sultry Kathleen Turner voices. Don't get turned on, guys.
I love this idea. I mean, Amy came to me initially, and I was just like, oh, this is a genius idea. And also, you're right. I think there should be a volume of it sort of every couple of years, frankly. So let's call it volume 1. Can we do that? Can we announce that?
Sure, but I want a break.
I understand. No, but it's tremendously entertaining. It's also very bite-sized. It's, it's the perfect thing to ingest in a time where we're feeling like we are deprived of community, because it is so kind of communal and playful and inclusive. And I sort of poured over it and felt like I was hanging out with all of my, my wish list of dearest friends, and some people like Lennon too, who we are dear friends. We're dear friends.
Yeah. Amy sent me the sweetest email. And honestly, if anybody sends me a personal email, I'm like, yes. What, you know who I am.
Watch out. You've now said that publicly.
I know, but it was very sweet. And I love the idea. And also the sort of take on it, like when you take people through like what the essays are, like I wrote a poem that is an ode to Target, which is very deeply personal to me. And can I say holds up through the pandemic? Totally. Like, I think the openness, the creativity, the option to sort of personalize it. And some of the titles are like so amazing, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, people need to listen to the audiobook to listen to Lennon read her ode to Target, because it is unbelievable. Very deeply felt.
I'm no Amanda Gorman. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, Yeah, but poetry is important. Everyone should know.
No, and my, just to piggyback, my contribution is a cartoon. So the other sort of like a comic, but that's the other part of this, which is like it's multi, and that's why I think it's very digestible and kind of the perfect kind of snack to your kind of creative and cultural list of things to do and ingest, because it really does sort of satiate that, multifaceted, very uber creative, layered way of expression, which is, I think, how most kind of, certainly comedic and creative brains think, which is in terms of drawings and doodles, which I did, and the written word and the poems and the songs. I mean, there's literally like a full-on song in there with, complete with notes and notes. You can tell I'm a professional musician, one of the greats. But, it's just like, it is truly this archive, this artifact of who's out there, what ladies are out there doing their thing right now. And I think it's quite beautiful.
When I got to the song, I was like, all right, I don't even know what to do with this. Should I even attempt to like play this in my head from my rudimentary piano from like third grade? Or am I just going to look at these, move?
I think the key with the song is watch her perform it on YouTube. So people ask her all the time for that sheet music. Yes. So there is a generation of musical theater students that will be thrilled.
I'm sure there will.
Music is the word that I was looking for. Sorry about that.
All those notes.
Actual notes. Wait, I just want to jump in here. One of the other parts that I was obsessed with was who wrote frequently asked questions about the IUD.
Oh yeah, Blythe Roberson.
It's so good. Because by the way, I was like, I'm interested. This is yeah.
These are questions you can't ask.
You learn something too.
You want to know?
You get your belly laugh on.
Yeah.
It's true. I feel like from the drawings to the essays to all the little mini interview questions that you rounded up in like snackable form, as you were saying, everybody shares a sort of sarcastic type humor. Like everything is so tongue in cheek, as opposed to like, here I am, I'm going to tell like a shit, this is my funny set. No, it's just like all just so like smart and just like a variation on reality, right? Like texts you would hear or texts you sent, like that was so funny.
Yeah.
But then things that didn't even happen, right? Texts you sent by mistake.
And that you sent to the wrong person. Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, all of it is like just, it's, you know what it is? It's like entertainment. It's using the book form to entertain in a new way with visual and colors that are arresting and attention grabbing. And I feel like while community is so important right now, so is like being able to focus. Like, have you guys had a hard time reading lately or like focusing? I feel like there's so much going on that it can be hard. This book is sort of the antidote to that.
I mean, I think like I was thinking your podcast, moms don't have time to read book. I'm like, this one is fine. I'm a mom. I can attest this one, you're going to be fine. Yeah.
I think I'd make a great gift too. Like, I feel like you could buy it in bulk. Everyone buy it in bulk and then just send it to like your best girlfriends. And we're like, I just knew you needed this right now. Or like all of those boxes, we're getting like all those ads for like Happy Box, etc. Like it's a perfect thing like that. Just to say, I was thinking of you. Here it is from my local bookstore and, the independent bookseller on the corner and wrap it up. Love it.
You could do a box with some toilet paper or something. You could, we could do the bathroom theme, like keep it going, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And just like from your female owned independent bookshop down the block. But yeah, there was another one like, here's just to wet the palate and tease the innards of the book there's one like, a line from my obituary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one of my other favorites, which was really entertaining to read. One of them was like, she was my favorite inmate, or something.
Yeah. There was one about the ex-boyfriend too that was so funny when she meets him on the street and she's like running but carrying groceries with her perfect new husband and she's like, oh, no name, I don't even remember you. So,
anyway, that's Mitra Juhari. Yeah, that's her.
Yes.
It's like a script of running into her ex-boyfriend. So fun.
And Lennon, your poem, when I read it at first, I just kind of read ode, but then I like didn't read the title carefully. And I started reading it and I was like, oh, I wonder where she is. Like, I wonder, is this a Costco or like, where is she? And then I was like, oh, I'm such a moron. She's at Target. Like, duh. Okay.
I do believe that Joanna Gaines has the answers. Like she's figured it out. how many children does she have? And it's just all like farmhouse chic. And from head to toe, she's always got on the right boot. Her husband is annoying and wonderful. Like, it's just, she's got it figured out. Like, everyone needs a windmill. Don't we all need a windmill?
I don't know who
I love
this mystical woman is, but I'm I listen.
Oh my God. Hearth and Hand, like Fixer Upper.
Okay.
No, you don't.
No.
You're too busy making your your pizzas.
Listen,
like
I have a pizza oven and I'm proud of it. Okay.
it's the most delicious pizza you've ever had in your life.
I'm
That's
sure Joanna has something you could use for the pizza oven. She's got all sorts of stuff.
She definitely has a pizza stone, a crafted, curated pizza stone.
Listen, I respect it, but that's the other thing. There's a lot of different kinds of moms out there, okay? And I think that there's a lot of different kind of proclivities. And I have to say, this scratches all the itches, this book, because in my doodle, for instance, like I was kind of like funny, just observational stuff. And then like upside down, really teeny tiny writing. I say that my daughter has epilepsy, and that's not a joke. And I just say that it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's the full range of, little tidbits that feel incredibly real and earnest, but then also the majority, I would say like 98.9% of it is just hilarious. So.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of really real moments in it, that are really beautiful. There's this girl, Carolina Barlow, who's a brilliant gal. She wrote a piece of all of her fantasies about men throughout her life in chronological order. And she used to have this fantasy about getting in an accident and all of these different exes come to her bedside. And then she ultimately does get in an accident and these about men actually come in her bedside. It's so beautiful. People would send these pieces in and I would be like driving home and I would pull over and it was like the most exciting thing to read them. And, they're poems and comics and all sorts. It's so fun. I'm sad it's done, honestly.
Like I read on Instagram when you shared about your daughter having epilepsy and how you wrote that you weren't sure for a while if you were going to share it or not. And you decided that in this time of community, it was good to come forward. Can you tell me about your decision to share?
Yeah, I think, not dissimilar from what I was talking about with a book like this, where there, community is, I think I do what I do and I enjoy my job so much because it is based around the sort of ethos of community, right? Like you group up a bunch of people who have of like mind and create something that didn't exist before. And, and so when it came to my daughter Nova's epilepsy, I felt very isolated. It happened during the pandemic. She had had seizures before, but it had never sort of been escalated to the stamp of she has epilepsy and she has a genetic mutation that causes it, which we now know. So yeah, I think that I really I felt really alone in it, and so it's just scary. It just is, it's like, you don't have the answers. Traditionally you would have these opportunities to be with other parents and maybe go to a support group, maybe go to a coffee with the Epilepsy Foundation or, and start to kind of have someone to text in the middle of something, just be like, hey, did you find this? And is this medication working for you? It's like, you don't really have that in this time. And I respect that we have to be isolated and be good citizens in this pandemic, but it was hard. And so I thought, well, if it's hard for me, then it's hard for others. And as opposed to, I was looking for support and I did. I got a lot of support. It was really just therapeutic to have other moms and dads, just people, cousins, sisters, brothers, whatevers, grandparents who have, a loved one with epilepsy. And then seeing sorry, I'm like rambling, but then there was other women who were like young women and older women, who are married now with kids and the whole thing. And they're like, I have epilepsy and I have an amazing life. And, I thought, oh, okay, Nova's going to be okay. And I'm happy to say we're 6 months seizure free right now. So
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm going to knock on all the wood. This is it. You ready? Foley. That's Foley work there. But no, yeah. So I do feel that, I just, it's almost like scary to say you're seizure free. You know what I mean? Cause you just don't,
Yeah.
but she's doing great. And I feel very great.
That's great. Well, I'm sure you connected with a bazillion people, but one of my best friends, her son also has epilepsy, and she's like funny and amazing and awesome. So if you need another really cool mom to talk to, I'm happy to connect you guys, because she also didn't know anybody when she was going through it. And if you're not on Instagram, or you really have to kind of put it out there about not just one thing your child has, but basically everything we're all going through. And I think, there's so much we all have in all these different ways: loss or divorce or kids' illnesses or just stress with your kids or whatever it is, or work stuff or anything. And, before, you're confined to the people in your physical orbit a lot more. And now it's like everything is sort of, all the doors have been blown off, right? Like everything you get has to be in this massive social media world, or else you have to be only with the people you know. Does that make any sense? Jamie, like once you put it on social media, it's like, oh, this woman in Nigeria has the same thing with her daughter as I'm going through right now. And if I hadn't just like sat on my phone and typed like 2 lines, I never would have known that. And I would have been feeling like, oh my God, I'm the worst mom ever. But now I'm the second worst or something, so.
No, totally. The only time I meet people is the dog park. I basically go in like 1,000 masks and just stand in the corner and let my dogs like live their life, because they don't need to wear masks. And now I'm just like so connected to the dog community in a way that I never realized I might be. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's taught us the ways that if you open up, you can find those people,
So true.
I think, our children too are suffering so much, in a way that they can't articulate. And I think, it's so crazy that social media has become some tremendous resource to figure out how to talk about complex issues like that, injustice, and, it's like you can't just rely on, for instance, like, oh, okay, they're going to go to school and they're going to talk about that, because not everybody's able to go to school in the same way. So already there, you don't have the infrastructure of like a staff of amazing educators, which, kind of traverse some of this complicated territory. Like, oh, what does it feel like to feel full of anxiety? Like, I feel like anxiety is something that our kids are all like, I don't like, what is this new blanket that's on top of everything that I do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
There's an Instagram account called Seed and Sow, which I follow. And they were talking recently about patience versus like boundary parenting. So it's sort of like you're cooking dinner and your toddler hits your leg and you're like, you just kind of keep cooking dinner, and he hits your leg again and you keep cooking dinner and you ignore it. And then the third time you explode. And I was like, okay, this is personal. Like I felt like they had like snuck a camera into my kitchen and watched me deal with my 4-year-old. And then the other option is the first time he hits you, you like stop cooking dinner, squat down, get eye level with him and say like, I'm not going to let you hit me. Seems like you're wanting attention. How about as soon as I finish with this, whatever sauce or cutting the onions, stop crying and we do jumping jacks in the living room or something. And the first time I did it and it worked, I mean, we did jumping jacks in the living room. He was like, what? You want to do jumping jacks? And we were just like jumping jacking in the middle. That's not, you can't use that. You can't say jumping jacking. Anyway, so that's been a resource for me as I try to homeschool and parent and do all the things that I'm like thought I would be great at and I'm not great at, like a resource.
Yeah, that's so funny, Lennon, because like this morning, like Ozzy gave this exact thing. He's like, I want to go downstairs. I'm like, I'm still sleeping. And he's like, I want to go downstairs. I'm like, again, my eyes are closed. He's like, I want to go downstairs. And I'm like, Ozzy, this is not going to work. I love you. You need to go and put your underwear on and your potty time. And then I will take you downstairs. He's 3.5. And he was like, okay with that. But then maybe now I've perpetuated it. I feel I'm making a lot of questions about just my and like my life choices.
No, I feel like every parent does that though. I mean, who's going to really like throw the spatula and like, sit cross-legged on the floor and attend the first time? I don't know. But then my daughter the other day, she did the same thing. Like, and I have 4 kids, but this was my 7-year-old.
Oh, nice.
I have twins who were 13 and then a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old. Anyway, my 7-year-old, she was asking me something and I was like, wait. And then, or she didn't listen the first 2 times, so then the third time I'm like, stop, she's like, why would you yell at me? I'm like, well, I'm not really yelling, but you didn't listen to me the first 2 times. So what options do I have? She's like, okay. And then the next time I ask her, she asks me to stop doing something and I didn't ignore her. And she's like, but now I get to yell at you if you don't do this the second time I ask. And I was like, no. You can't. You don't get to turn this around now.
I'm a grown ass woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? There's the difference. No, I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm. My daughter is 7 3/4, she would want me to say. And she had she had a breakdown about what wasn't fair because the 4-year-old was watching Wildcrats, which is educational television, everyone.
Yes.
It counts
totally
as
sanctioned,
school, right?
Yes.
And she was like, it's not fair that I have to do all this 2nd grade homework. And I was like, what's not fair is that I have to make sure that everybody has toilet paper, find a small moment in the day to take a poop myself, make sure that we have something to eat, then clean all those dishes while you get to parade around and play with your OMG LOL dolls. And guess who bought you those? You know what I mean? That's not fair. And she was like, okay. And she heard it because I was at the end of whatever rope, that particular rope day.
Lennon, I hear you. Similarly, when it gets real, when you get into the I'm a person. I literally, I had a thing where they were just, my kids are just fighting, and Nova won't allow. She just allows it to get to her, and I'm like, woman, and it's
yeah,
it's okay. You can actually physically take your body away from the situation, And then finally, I was like, all right, everybody in your room, because I was alone there, and I'm solo mommy now because, we're divorced. It's fine, but we are. And so it's just, there's 2 houses. And so I'm like, guys, come on. And then I went upstairs and I was like, hey guys, let's crisscross applesauce and have a family meeting about what you said, and then that's when I said, look, how you're a person and you're a person. I'm also a person. I'm just here are 3 persons sitting down.
Yes.
And I got, how you get frustrated? I got frustrated. That's what that was. And I needed a minute. When you need a minute, I needed a minute. And I just was like, let me level with you. I literally, seriously, you guys, when I'm here alone, sometimes I don't know how to tell you guys to get along. It was just the honest appeal. And they were like, yeah, I get it. It was just a nice moment of raw honesty. And I was like, look, I go to therapy. I'm going to use this shit on my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think also with divorce, I'm divorced and I've gotten remarried since, but there's this extra layer of guilt, right? So I'm trying to do my best, but I lose it. But then all of a sudden they're gone. Right. And then you have 2, and I don't know, maybe you don't split custody or whatever, but every other weekend, it's quiet and I have the opportunity to reflect and be like, oh my God, why did I handle it that way? Why did I do that? And it just makes it all feel worse somehow. But we're so far off from comedy at this point. I'm sorry. We've meandered here.
Hey, right? These are I hopefully moms are going,
Exactly. Yeah.
Completely. But funny.
No, I didn't.
I think the 4 of us, we guys, just all of us after this, we're going to go do some jumping jacking on ourselves.
Jumping jacking
and
with 3 persons.
Hashtag jumping jacking.
Yeah.
Jumping
jacking.
I don't want to explain it to you, if you don't.
Oh, wow. Take it down. We did a show together. So
JK.
We are incredibly tight. With our friendship. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
Get it out of the gutter.
So Amy, do you have visions when everything is back to normal of assembling your amazing crew of all the contributors to your book in some sort of in-person party of sorts or something?
Yeah, that's
say
the
yes
dream
to that?
Yeah,
already?
big time,
The dream?
big time. I mean, I feel like the times when the book was so hard and 40 billion emails and tracking people down, it was someday we'll have a party. And then of course, no, but we will someday. We will. No, I was a huge fan of every woman in this book when I asked them. That's why I asked them. And I've only become bigger fans. So I would love to. That would be the dream.
Amazing. You could even turn it into some sort of special, like performance.
Yeah. Of course, you're very Hollywood to say that. Everyone's always like, okay, well, how are you going to adapt it? And it's like, some things can stay how they are.
No, I mean, not to say
No,
it's not,
I know.
it's not great the way it is. I find I make more time for books and stuff on TV these days anyway, because they're like there and you don't have to turn anything on. I don't know. So it's great the way it is.
No. I'm just kidding. It's just funny.
Well, what else is coming next for all of you individually? Like what's next on the horizon for all of you?
I don't know, guys.
You don't know.
There's a
cooking for dinner.
There's a lot. The other day, my boyfriend at 8:45 a.m. goes, "What's for dinner?" I was like, "You gotta calm down."
Yeah, it's time for him to make dinner. Yeah,
I think when he does a very, very hard job. I talk about this a lot, but I this one day went on a podcast and they were talking about, it was about writing and like, what are your writing tips like for women writers, blah, blah. And the only thing I could think of was that like, I love having a fun pen. Like, I think that makes writing so much more exciting if you have a pen you're really excited about. And I went home and I told my boyfriend about, that's like what I talked to, like showing us her pens. I told him, I was like, I said the dumbest thing today. And he was like, today, he works at this amazing nonprofit. And he was like, today I did a long interview with a man who was wrongfully incarcerated at age 16 and has finally just been let out of prison and has been paroled to this rehab. And it's just like, this is what he does all day. And I was like, I said a stupid thing about a pen. It's just bizarre to compare.
You know what you do? You need to cook him dinner.
Yeah, I do need to cook him dinner.
By the way.
But yeah.
No wonder he was so angry with you.
Well, but someday, technically what's next is we will shoot Barry season 3 someday when people are vaccinated and it's a little safer and we don't get Henry Winkler sick, which would be the worst thing you could do. Yeah.
The worst.
So yeah, that's me. Go Lake.
Oh, I just finished, I'm setting up my third feature. So my third original feature that I wrote and direct, and I'm super excited about that. I have another feature that I'm setting up as well concurrently. And then I have a couple of TV shows that I am developing in my 20th deal.
Cool.
EPing and directing.
As a fancy producer.
A big fancy lady.
I'm wearing a neck scarf. For those
you are. And puff sleeves.
And puff sleeves. But yeah, that and I'm writing a children's book. Which is really fun too. So just kind of like dipping in a lot of things right now and a lot of development and things like that.
That's awesome.
Voiceover stuff.
I have a children's book coming out with Penguin Random House in a year from now, basically.
Amazing. Amazing. Congratulations. I know. I'm like, well, because you're at home and you're like, okay.
Might as well.
But I would like to be reading to the kids right now.
It's like, all right, enough. Let's do it another way. And what about you, Lennon? What are you up to next?
Just nothing. I've got nothing. I really do. I am just waiting for everybody to get the vaccine, and then I will be out and about back at Target. No, I mean, I shot a pilot in December. We're waiting to hear about that. It's for HBO Max called Minx, it's great. It's a period piece set in the 70s it's like the first Playgirl, basically.
Cool. Starring
Ophelia Lovabond and Jake Johnson. And I play her sister, a housewife.
Were the clothes amazing?
The clothes were amazing. Beth, who actually did costumes for Playing House season 1, and Glow did the costumes.
Cool.
So of course she's just like amazing. Yeah. And then I'm going to do my silly podcast, Womp It Up, which is 2 insane characters, for hopefully do some more of that. And then more writing.
That's awesome.
So
yeah. This is so neat. It's like super inspiring to get to hear what you all are up to and how no matter what, everybody is sort of going through the same stuff, right? Like everybody out there is like dealing with the kid, trying to get them to stop cooking, or I'm not even doing the cooking, anyway, or debating who's doing the cooking for dinner, you or your husband or whatever. So anyway, the book comes at the perfect time and is such an entertaining vehicle for distraction and laughter and what we all need right now. So Amy, the 500,000 emails, totally worth it. And Lake and Lennon, it was so nice to meet you and loved your contributions too. So
thank you. So fun.
Good luck with the book. So exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zibby.
All right. Thanks, ladies. Have a great day.
Hey. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.